Imagine a world where everything ever known, every story told, every discovery made, was gathered in one place. Not on a cloud server, not on a hard drive, but on fragile scrolls of papyrus and parchment, housed within the magnificent walls of the Library of Alexandria. This wasn't just a building. It was the mind of the ancient world, the collective memory of humanity. And then, in a storm of fire and war, much of it was lost forever. Today, we're going back to that tragic day in 48 BC to witness the last hours of the greatest repository of knowledge the world had ever seen. The air in Alexandria is thick, not just with the salty breeze from the Mediterranean, but with the tension of war. Julius Caesar is here, embroiled in a bitter Egyptian civil war. The city is a chessboard, and its people are pawns. But nestled near the harbor, within the royal palace complex, stands the library, a sanctuary of learning amidst the chaos. Inside, the usual quiet hum of scholarly debate has been replaced by an anxious silence. Librarians and scholars glanced nervously towards the windows, the sounds of distant conflict a grim reminder of the world outside. For nearly 3 centuries, this library has been the intellectual heart of the world. Founded by Ptolemy I, a general of Alexander the Great, it was envisioned as a universal library, a place to collect all of the world's knowledge, and they came close. Agents were sent across the known world to acquire texts. Ships docking in Alexandria were required to surrender any books on board to be cut. At its peak, it's believed to have held up to 500,000 scrolls. Think about that. The works of Homer, Plato, and Socrates, the lost plays of Sophocles and Euripides, treatises on mathematics by Euclid and Archimedes, astronomical charts that mapped the heavens, medical texts that detailed the secrets of the human body, histories of empires long vanished. It was all here. Eratosthenes, a chief librarian, calculated the circumference of the earth with astounding accuracy using just sticks, shadows, and his brilliant mind. Hero of Alexandria created the world's first steam engine. The library wasn't just a warehouse for old books. It was a vibrant research institute, a university where the greatest minds of the age came to think, to argue, and to push the boundaries of human understanding. The very foundation of Western science and philosophy was nurtured within these walls. But on this fateful day, the sanctuary is about to become an inferno. The conflict in the city escalates. In a desperate tactical move to destroy the Egyptian fleet in the harbor, Caesar orders his soldiers to set the ships on fire. It's a brutal, effective military strategy. But fire is a wild and indiscriminate beast. The wind whips up, carrying embers from the burning ships inland. They float like deadly orange butterflies, landing on the docks, the warehouses, and then onto the rooftops of the library complex itself. The dry papyrus scrolls, stored by the tens of thousands, are the perfect fuel. The first wisps of smoke are a sign of doom. A cry of alarm echoes through the grand halls. Panic erupts. The scent of burning wood and parchment, a smell like history itself, turning to ash, fills the air. Imagine the scene. A vast hall, lined with towering shelves of cedarwood, reaching towards a frescoed ceiling. But now, flames lick at the shelves, climbing them like hungry vines. Scrolls, once priceless treasures, become cascading waterfalls of fire. The light of the inferno dances on the marble columns, their shadows trembling as if in fear. This is not a quiet, dignified end. It is a scene of pure desperation. Scholars, men who have dedicated their lives to these texts, become frantic firefighters. They form human chains, passing scrolls hand to hand, away from the encroaching blaze. An old sage, his white robes now gray with soot, his face a mask of agony, scrambles under a toppling statue, clutching a single salvaged scroll to his chest as if it were his own child. He knows that in his arms, he might be holding the last surviving copy of a masterpiece. A final, flickering candle of genius, against a storm of ignorance. In the background, silhouetted against the raging orange light, we see the chaos. A young student, tears streaming down his face, tries to beat back the flames with a heavy cloak. A priest falls to his knees, not in prayer, but in despair. as a shelf laden with astronomical charts collapses in a shower of sparks. Burning pages drift through the smoky air like blackened leaves in a hellish autumn. A spilled inkpot bleeds across a detailed map of the world on a table, the black ink mixing with the ashes, symbolically wiping a city off the map. A broken hourglass lies on its side, the sand spilled out, time itself having run out for this temple of knowledge. The sound is a symphony of destruction. The roar of the fire, the crack and splinter of ancient wood, the hiss of papyrus, curling into blackness, and above it all, the cries of anguish. This isn't just the sound of a building burning, it's the sound of future generations being robbed. How many scientific principles did we have to rediscover centuries later? How many philosophical debates were silenced forever? How many epic poems and plays, as great as the Iliad or Oedipus Rex, are now just ghosts, their titles known only from indexes and references found in other surviving works? It's crucial to understand that this wasn't the only fire, or the only act of destruction the library ever faced. Its decline was a slow, painful process over centuries, suffering from budget cuts, neglect, and other conflicts. But the fire of 48 BC stands as the most iconic, the most dramatic blow. It symbolizes the fragility of knowledge, the terrifying ease with which civilization's accomplishments can be erased. The image of scholars running from the flames, trying to save armfuls of wisdom, is an eternal warning. As the roof begins to groan and collapse, the last of the survivors are forced to flee, leaving the rest to the fire's mercy. They stumble out into the Alexandrian night, gasping for clean air, their faces illuminated by the horrifying glow of their life's work becoming a funeral pyre. They hold the few scrolls they managed to save, a pitiful fraction of the whole. Each one is now infinitely precious. The silent scream of lost history echoes in the smoke-filled sky. What was lost that day? We will never truly know. We have fragments, mentions in other texts of books that no longer exist. We know of a history of the world in 3 volumes by a Babylonian priest named Beresus. Lost. We know of the astronomical calculations of Aristotle, who first proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system 1,800 years before Copernicus. Mostly lost. We know of 123 plays by Sophocles, but we only have 7. The rest, lost, perhaps, in fires like this one. The burning of the Library of Alexandria is more than a historical event. It's a myth, a legend, a cautionary tale that has resonated through the ages. It reminds us that knowledge is precious and that it is not guaranteed. It teaches us that civilization is a thin veneer, igly burned away by the fires of war, ignorance, and apathy. In our digital age, we may think our knowledge is safe on servers and clouds, but the lesson of Alexandria is that no storage is ever truly permanent. The responsibility to preserve, to share, and to value knowledge rests with every one of us. The memory of those scholars, fighting to save the last scrolls from the flames, is a charge passed down to us through history, to be the guardians of our own collective memory. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. If this story moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more dives into the pivotal moments of our shared past. What piece of lost knowledge do you wish we could recover from the ashes? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep seeking knowledge.